Welcome back to the podcast. We're here to talk about Google ads, paid ads, but most importantly, the StubGroup difference and how we can benefit from that. Mr. John Horn is here, the CEO himself of StubGroup.com. John and his company help small business owners and marketing teams struggling with paid ads to achieve real ROI. They combine expert ad management with paid ads and a personalized boutique approach that fosters close client relationships and ensures sustainable growth without the risk of unexpected setbacks like ad disapprovals or suspensions. That's scary stuff. We want to stay away from that. We want to succeed, have fun, grow our business, and crush our goals, as the kids say. So, John, glad to be speaking with you.
Robert, thank you so much for having me.
Glad to have you. And so we did our best here to speak your bio out and hype you up, but what did I miss or leave out, or just what has you excited, fired up these days?
Well, it's always really exciting to be able to work, like you said, with small, medium-sized businesses and just see really tangible results in their businesses from the work that we do. This is something I'm always reminding our team members about, which is the work that we do literally puts bread on the tables for our clients. It enables them to pay their teams, to hire new people, to grow their businesses, create wealth for themselves. And it's just fun to be a part of that journey and help along the way.
And changing some lives, making a difference. I love it because that's always a fear, right? When you're a kid and you're in high school and you go to career day and you're like, okay, now it's crunch time. I need to figure out what to do with my life. And there's the concern that you might just work for some company, sit in a cubicle, and then your life is meaningless. But hey, we're business owners, we're entrepreneurs, we're on this roller coaster of a journey, and some days are good, some days are bad, but then how do we push through when times get difficult? It's to remind ourselves, well, hey, we're helping these companies. Some of these companies, they might die, right? There's a scary world of recession and AI and markets going away. So when you have a company like yours to clear up these ad suspensions, to get the paid ads dialed in, then these companies can succeed. And who knows how many people that employs, puts bread on the table, and helps other companies. So it's good just to think about that ripple effect of what we do matters. And so speaking to that, I mean, unpack a little bit for us. Tell us about what are the activities, the solutions you provide for people.
Absolutely. So we work with a wide variety of types of businesses, everything from e-commerce companies to lead generation companies, local, national, a wide variety. But at the end of the day, it's all about how do we help them find new customers and find them profitably, bring them in, whether that's purchasing through a website or bring them to a physical location, getting a phone call, whatever that may be, and doing that profitably through, in our case, through advertising. And so some of the platforms we use most for that are, like you mentioned, Google Ads, Meta advertising. Really, it's about connection. It's about understanding where is the target audience that our client is focused on. Where are they spending their time? Where are they looking for solutions? Are they searching for solutions on Google? Are they spending their time on Facebook not knowing they need a solution until we come and proactively say, hey, you've got this problem, there is a solution. And so it's about figuring out those things, figuring out the right messaging to very clearly communicate what the service or product is we're trying to sell, how that solves the need that the potential customer has, and why they should trust this particular business to be the provider of that solution.
Very nice. And what I like about that answer you gave is it kind of gets us back to basics. There's I think it's like basketball coach John Wooden, when he starts a new season, he says like, hey, here's what a basketball is. Here are the rules of basketball. Here's what we're doing. And it's so easy to just get caught up in the day to day and not be thinking about, like you're saying, hey, well, there's these people here and they're stuck and they have problems, and here's how we speak to our needs and get these ads to get their attention and to warm them up and to give them like a start to finish experience. It's helpful just to go back to basics in that way and say, hey, here's the goal. Here's what we're doing. We're starting from scratch. And so when a company comes to you and they say, hey, we'd like to get our Google ads, Meta ads figured out, what's the usual starting point? Do the companies you like to work with, have they never run ads? Have they run ads, but it's a disaster? Maybe they're like picking up from some other client. What's the usual starting point?
Yeah, all of the above, like you mentioned. So sometimes people brand new to digital advertising and saying, hey, we don't know what this is going to look like. Can you help us figure out a plan and what might it cost and where should we start? Sometimes it's businesses who've been burned by another agency or even by an in-house team member. And they're saying, hey, we think that we can be profitable, but we haven't been up to this point. We need someone who's more expert, who has a different approach. and who can do it better. And so ultimately, those conversations with those businesses coming to us, often initially they revolve around what is that business trying to accomplish? What are they going to define as success for their advertising? Are they trying to generate orders? Are they trying to generate, phone calls? They're trying to generate in-store traffic, and then let's dial down on that and say, okay, well, what can you afford to pay in advertising to acquire a new client based upon your lifetime value, based upon your conversion rates and things? And really, before we get into any nitty gritty of, well, let's run this campaign type or that campaign type or keyword match types or any of those types of things, we want to understand how can we make this company successful? And is it possible? Are their expectations aligned with where the market is? Or, are they saying, well, we can afford to pay, $1 per new customer, and we know it'll be $100 per new customer, and there's no reason to even start working together because their needs are just not aligned with the market.
Right. Why engage in that exercise of frustration if it's just impossible? So you say, what's your goal? And then what are you willing to pay for each of those customers coming in? And like, what's the typical answer? Like, are there more companies that say, I want to focus on the phone calls or the opt-ins or the in-store? Like, what's the usual answer?
The usual answer is I just want to make money, and I'll spend as much as I need to make money as long as we're making money. Which, on the one hand, I understand as an answer. On the other hand, doesn't help us get us where we need to be. And so then it's usually a conversation of, okay, well, let's dive into your numbers. A lot of small, medium-sized businesses, they don't have a great grasp on their numbers. They don't know, hey, if we get 10 leads today, how many of those leads are going to turn into customers, and how much money over the lifetime of those customers will we make, et cetera. And so we try and help them actually kind of figure that out, kind of dig down and say, okay, well, based upon these numbers, then we could target, this general range of what it would be worth to spend in advertising to actually get a new customer for you based upon those numbers, and then work our way backwards from there. So it's rare that we have a client who's like, just, okay, here's all the numbers are figured out. Here's exactly what we need. Usually it's more of a partnership and ongoing conversation.
And I've for sure had conversations like that, right? Like I've got on one-on-one coaching calls, and I'm like, hey, I need help with this, right? And like sometimes it's about traffic, and then it'll be like, well, I don't want to be one of those people that like goes on and on about my backstory, right? That doesn't help anybody. But I do want to be someone that says like, hey, here's exactly what I need. But then I get kind of stuck in the middle where they're like, hey, this metric, this number. I'm like, oh, I know some of my numbers, but not that one. They say, hey, that's okay. Based on this other stuff, let's kind of make an educated guess. And I tell myself, all right, well, I need to kind of maybe go back and like figure out this. So because I thought I knew what I wanted, but I didn't know like exactly number based what that goal was to get. And so then sometimes that's necessary, right? To kind of have the back and forth, the partnership. So let's say someone gets to the end, right? You get to some kind of an answer about like, here's what we want. Here's what we're willing to pay for whatever conversion is. Then like what happens? What's the method of the madness in that phase?
Yes, then it's about identifying, all right, what's what we call the lowest hanging fruit. Let's start with that and work our way up. Generally, we're talking about, kind of the marketing funnel. So let's say it's a business where people are searching for what they sell. Maybe a local business, let's say you're a plumber, just make up an example. Well, we know people, when they need a plumber, they're going to go to Google and search, plumber near me or fix a leaky sink or whatever. And so the lowest hanging fruit for that type of business is going to be serving ads to those people who are searching. So Google search campaigns, showing text ads, maybe ads, they call it local service ads as well, and capturing that low hanging fruit. And then from there, we might say, okay, well, hey, we're getting as much of this traffic as we can profitably in your area. Maybe we can work our way up the funnel and start serving ads proactively to people who aren't searching with a need right now, but who fit our target kind of demographics. Now, plumber is probably not a great example there because most people don't care at all about plumbers until they have a need and then they search. But there's many businesses where someone might not be actively searching, but if you identify, hey, this person matches the patterns of our other clients, maybe we upload our customer data to Meta, for example, and we target a lookalike of people who are similar to our existing customers, and then we say, hey, you have this problem, we have the solution, and we're serving these ads to people who are similar, like I said, to our current customers. And so a lot of them are going to have the same problem and say, oh, hey, yes, I do have that problem. Cool. They can help me solve it. And so really it's working our way up the funnel, trying to capture the warmest business possible, the most, ROI, highest ROI business possible, and then scaling from there.
And that's helpful. And it sounds really, really basic, but it's one of those pieces of advice where so many people ignore it, right? It's tempting to look at because there's the low hanging fruit and there's the bright shiny object, right? Two extremes. And it's really tempting for someone to say, "Oh my gosh, I'm hearing about like this new type of ad that Google or Meta is running, and I want to run a carousel ad." And it's there just because that's what the newness is. But then, and you know, we've all been frustrated with that kind of thing, right? We hire some kind of agency and they say, "Oh my gosh, like we're going to plug AI into this. We're going to set up all this cool stuff for you." And it's like, hey, that's exciting, but what about what's there right in front of me? What about getting the agency to pay for itself? And then if I get that kind of result, that's better than anything I've ever come across so far. Now I'm excited to see about the other possibilities where it's maybe like slightly more work and slightly less of a return, but it's still an increase in my business. It's just like a little more uphill than those kind of easy wins. So you're saying run like the local service ads in that example, and then get into like the lookalike audiences, kind of the more advanced. So that way we can conquer more of the market. And so when you're helping out one of these companies, like where are they, is there usually like resistance? Where's kind of the conflict or the struggle, or you're trying to make this campaign work? Is there usually like some kind of like unexpected bump in the road?
There are a lot of potential bumps. I would say some of those common ones are unrealistic expectations around time frame. Businesses coming and saying, "Okay, well, we're launching today, and tomorrow I should have tons and tons of leads, and life should be awesome because we just launched campaigns, right?" And the answer is no. Advertising takes time. It takes time to figure out which aspects are working, which aspects aren't, to cut, to optimize, to double down on what's working, and so it takes time. It's not a magic bullet. So that's, I'd say, one of the key kind of mistakes businesses make is just looking for things too quickly, and then when they don't see those things happen right away, saying, "Oh, it doesn't work," and then stopping. Whereas if they kept going for another month, 2 months, 3 months, they might have actually got to a place where it was very profitable for them. I would say other common mistakes are kind of going back to those unrealistic expectations, where a business kind of comes up with a number of like, well, our return on ad spend should be, 10x because Billy over here in his company, he told me he's getting 10x. And like, well, great for Billy, but his market's different. What he's selling is different. His average order value is different, and he's been in the business for 30 years, and he's got SEO built up. You're brand new, etc. There's so many different things where we don't want to just grab these kind of quote unquote benchmark numbers and say, "Oh, well, I should be hitting X, Y, and Z." We should be saying, let's look at your numbers, your reality. How do we make you profitable, and how do we maximize that profitability and build on that over time?
That's a great insight, that there's this idea of expectations. And I heard something like years ago that blew my mind, that was like, if your expectations are too high and then they don't get met, that's when anger happens, right? Like you watch TV and some guy's throwing the football like the whole length of the football field, and you're like, "Oh, that looks easy, I can do that." You never thrown a football in your life and it goes 2 feet. You get mad because the expectations don't meet reality. But that's very possible if you're just not fully educated, or you play that comparison game. So it's good to be mentally prepared for that going in, right? You set your expectations. This is a process. It might take a while. There might be some trial and error ramping up the ads. If it was so easy, you could just click a button, then everyone would do it. And so it's more involved. And that's why we need a company like StubGroup to help us out and make those ads working. And so once someone then runs the ads, there's always that fear that your ads will be taken down, right? Or that you'll be banned from the platform. And my understanding is that you help with that. So can you tell us about that? Like, I mean, why does the banning happen, and how do we get unbanned?
Yeah, this whole world of what they call Google Ads suspensions that most businesses have no idea exists until it happens to them, and then they know all too well. And essentially what it is that Google has many, many policies that you have to follow when you're advertising. And if you violate one of those policies, or if Google thinks you violated them, even if you didn't actually do it, they will suspend your account, which means you're not allowed to run any more ads with Google. And it's not as simple as just, "Oh, let me go create a new account," because they're following you around, watching you. If they see you trying to circumvent their systems, things like that, they will crack down on that as well. And so what needs to happen is you need to essentially go to court with Google. They are judge, jury, and executioner, but you have to go through their appeal process and try to explain why you're not actually violating the policies, or maybe if you made a mistake, a legitimate mistake, hey, sorry, here's what we found, here's what we fixed. And it all sounds, simple and straightforward, but unfortunately, Google has very poor processes in place to actually tell you what went wrong, to look at your appeals, and to get you back online. And so we see time and time again where businesses are hitting their head against a brick wall because Google won't tell them exactly what's wrong, and they don't know how to fix what went wrong and how to get back online. And so we have a whole team here at StubGroup who focuses exclusively on helping businesses fix these types of issues. And we've been doing this for over a decade. So we've learned, through pattern recognition, through trial and error, what Google likes to see, what they don't like to see, how to navigate their processes with the highest possible chances of success for our clients. And so we kind of come along almost like a lawyer saying, hey, we're going to go to court on your behalf, put together your case, show Google why you are a good guy, why you should be in their ecosystem, why they should let you keep paying them money, and argue on their behalf.
It sounds almost like dating, right? Like we've all been there. We're like, so some woman gets mad at us, and we're like, oh, I don't know why. It could be this, it could be that, and then sometimes it just takes that extra perspective. Talk to a trusted friend, someone who knows her, and says, hey, you probably messed up with this. Why don't you approach with that? Even though like you messed up, and you messed up, and she won't tell you, and the answer might not make sense, but here's the procedure going forward. And so it can help just to get out of our own bubble, our own thinking, and have someone like you to help to get unbanned and to navigate that. And so as far as just like what you've seen, right? Like you said, you've been doing this for over 10 years. You got this business, work with these clients, run all these cool ad campaigns. Have there been any turning points? Like, has anything surprised you, changed your direction or your thinking? Tell us about the ahas, the pivots.
Yeah, there's definitely been points over time. A lot of it, comes down to we kind of came to the understanding of what is it that we're selling as a business, and really we're selling expertise of our team members. And so I spend a tremendous amount of time on the hiring side of things, on the team building side of things, finding the right people, because at the end of the day, we are selling our people's time and experience and skill sets in the platforms and their communication with clients and the management of the campaigns and so forth. And so it's very much a people business. And I've had to learn that over time, make many mistakes along the way, and hopefully learn from those, and find ways and shortcuts and patterns, frameworks for finding the best people that we can bring on board and to serve our clients. So that's been an ongoing evolution over time, and continues to be. I would say one thing that is really impacting just how people find information right now, as of this last year, this year, is the presence of things like ChatGPT and AI overviews on Google, all of the different AI LLMs that are coming out. We're seeing this have a significant impact on, hey, when I want to find information, I might not go to Google as my first source always. I may go to ChatGPT and say, what do they say? Or I might go to Perplexity or something else. And so we're seeing the giants of the world right now, who control the spigots of information, Google being the primary giant, really having competition for the first time in a long time, not exactly by another search engine, but more by other ways of identifying information. And so that's something we're monitoring very closely and seeing how we can leverage those new tools on behalf of our clients to, again, make connections with new customers at the right time with the right message, and help our clients make money.
It seems like a lot of adapting has to take place, right? It seems like quite the arms race that, and like all of these giants like go through these phases. It seems like, right? Like when Facebook was new, when Facebook ads were new, it just seemed so easy, right? And then people started using it, and then they kind of clamped down, and then it had to be all these rules you went through. And like with Google, it seemed like when I talked to guys like you who like run ads on like a podcast like this, there's kind of the pessimism of, well, Google, they're piling in so many ad blocks, right? And it's like, why even bother with SEO when there's just like ads here and ads there and more ads than anything else? But then now perhaps Chat GPT and the search built in, like Perplexity you mentioned, I use all those daily. It's kind of giving them a run for their money, because now it's like I get to the answer even faster without ads. But then maybe ChatGPT at some point will start running ads. Who knows what? Like, there's always something to adapt to. And so all the more reason to stay on top of this. And as you're also saying, hire the right people who will be curious and who will think and who can kind of I don't know if outsmarting Google and Chat GPT is possible, but at least stay somewhat caught up, right? And so as far as people who are on this journey, right, who they need you, they need the Google ads and the Meta ads, and then there's all these choices, right? It's just like how you do Google search. There's all these choices of what to click on, what to learn, and so they need to choose StubGroup over the others. But I mean, what differentiates you? I know there's the StubGroup difference. So, like, how do you guys stand out when there's like just a billion different agencies like this?
Yeah, it's a great question. And you're absolutely right. There are many, many agencies, many, many options out there. I think a couple of things that we focus on are, first of all, like we talked about the Google compliance side of things. Most people do not have anywhere close to the understanding that we've been able to build up over time of how to make Google happy, how to keep accounts online, how to get accounts back online. And so we do a lot of work in that space with our clients, especially sometimes in industries where Google has even stricter policies and it's harder to stay between the lines. So that's one differentiator. I'd also say something that we really focus on is not caring about vanity metrics. What I mean by vanity metrics is, hey, I've got a great click-through rate on my ad, or hey, I've got so many clicks to my website, or whatever. And what we focus on is what is impacting your bottom line. How many leads are we driving? How many orders are we driving? What's the revenue we're driving? And that is what we're trying to focus on from a reporting standpoint when we're sharing how things are going with the clients, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that's what we're focusing on when we're optimizing the campaigns. I don't care what my click-through rate is if I'm generating good profit for my client and I'm able to, get good orders from ads that have low click-through rate. Cool. Let me do lots more of those ads because that's making money for my client. And so not getting caught up in those vanity metrics and really focusing on what matters for clients, and then informing them, translating those into the lexicon that our clients speak. There's PPC speak. There's speak of people in the marketing world, and they're like, oh, all these acronyms and things that most small businesses don't know and don't need to know. And so it's about how can we translate our world's language, and okay, this looks good, but translate that into the language of our clients in a way that they can understand and then make decisions based upon for their own business.
That's helpful. So, two key factors that you're mentioning here, right? One is to pursue the proper KPIs, which like helps in a lot of ways, right? Because you might be pursuing this big number, but like it won't make a difference, or you might be feeling bad about your traffic, but someone might say like, well, the traffic is low, but the conversion is high, so then it works out. And then there's that aspect of kind of translating the jargon into everyday understandable English, because the technical terms sure make you feel smart, but how helpful is that as far as getting the message across? So two very important factors as far as the stub group difference. And so as far as someone taking action on this, right? We're here on a podcast to share some stories, share some insights, give us a little bit of a taste, but then nothing really happens until someone says, hey, John Horner and his team, they're who I need to run my ads. Now I'll take the next step and contact them. Where should someone go to talk to your team and talk about some possibilities, and how do they know if they're a right fit for you?
Yeah, best place to go is our website, stubgroup.com, and schedule a free consultation through there. And we'll meet with you, talk with you about your business, understand what you're trying to accomplish, and just have a transparent conversation about whether we think we can help you, and if so, what path we see to doing that.
Very cool. So very easy and very doable and very low pressure and non-scary, right?
Absolutely.
Stubgroup.com. You go there, you schedule that call, you have that conversation, you just talk about possibilities, and it even helps. Like I think in programming they call it the rubber duck problem, right? If you're trying to solve a problem and you're like, hey, I don't know how to fix this bug, or where's the semicolon at? You tell a rubber duck, well, hey, I'm doing this, and you go back to basics. You say, I tried this and this. Oh my gosh, just explaining it gives me the insight on the aha. And so there's definitely value in having these conversations, and just saying, well, hey, I didn't realize I needed to know this traffic. I didn't know I had to, have this tool or check this data. But then if you do know, then you can say, hey, okay, now I know where I'm stuck. And here's where Stub Group and Mr. John Horn and his team can get me unstuck and can use their expertise to either get my ads in compliance or get me unbanned, or even better, get to that low-hanging fruit, show some profitability with the ads, and then also pursue the other opportunities. There's an exciting trajectory ahead for someone who uses StubGroup to get their Google ads and meta ads figured out, especially in this crazy era of ChatGPT and Perplexity and who knows what else, just kind of giving us a run for our money as far as adapting to that future change. And so as people are going to stubgroup.com here, Mr. John, it's time to put you on the spot, right? I promised you this before we started recording. I like to ask my guests at the end for a helpful or fun or insightful quote or lesson that has helped them that they can pass on to us. So what comes to mind for you as far as a fun quote or lesson?
I'm going to steal a quote from Dr. Robin Graham, who was a recent guest on my own podcast. And she said, confused people don't buy. And we see that time and time again in marketing and advertising and sales. Simplify your message. Don't allow the people you're speaking to be confused, to have too many options, too many choices. Simplify, simplify, confuse people, don't buy.
Very nice. And you kept it simple on this podcast. And when you go to stubgroup.com, it's very clean and there's white space and they simplify what the problem and the solution is for you as well. So go to stubgroup.com for a simple solution. If you try to do it all yourself, you're guaranteed to make it complex. But have these people that have achieved mastery who can make it simple and easy and fun in a process for you. Stubgroup.com, dominate Google ads and grow your business. Go there. There's a giant button there right above the fold, as the kids say, where you can click on the button to start your free consultation. So you have everything to gain and nothing to lose by having this quick conversation. StubGroup.com, StubGroup.com. Go there right now to check out the premier Google Ads agency. 888-509-3229. You're going to love it. And thank you very much, John, for showing up, as you said, on brand, making it simple and telling us what we need to know. Really appreciate it.
Robert, thank you so much for having me.